everyone, Dr. Sadiqi here. Today I'm joined by an incredible physician, Dr. Errin Weisman. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Before we get started, can you share an interesting story that you've had in this medical journey of yours?
Sure, I can think of one in the past couple months that I just have to tell you guys. So one of my many clinical positions, because I do a lot of fun things, is I work as a local county jail physician. And I have to tell you how some of my inmates were making jailhouse crack without me even noticing it, and it totally pissed me off. So here's what they were doing. They were buying off commissary. So that's like their way of getting like over-the-counter medicines, like Tylenol, if they need extra toothpaste, tampons, that kind of stuff while they're in jail. They can buy snacks too, which I don't like my diabetics doing because they all get like ramen noodles and honey buns, but that's beside the point. But anyway, so they were buying non-pseudoephedrine, like cold medicine. So it's like guaifenesin and like acetaminophen, that kind of stuff to like help with their cold symptoms so they don't evidently have to come to me. Well, they were buying these cold tablets, and some of them were asthmatic, and so I have albuterol for them PRN, like if they get a little wheezy, if they're working out. I'll be damned. They were taking the cold tablets, like saturating them down with the albuterol, and then popping them and getting a stimulant high because of how much albuterol they were taking on these damn cold tablets. So I just want to show you, human ingenuity goes everywhere. And so I love that story, and I'd love to share it all the time.
That's crazy. Wow. I mean, that's very smart and like, wow.
Oh, it's crafty. It's amazing. And it's I never thought that I would work in correctional. I am totally middle class white girl, but I'll be perfectly honest, like underneath the surface, I love me some Orange is the New Black. I love following drug trends. I remember when the meth totally hit the Midwest, and I was like Googling how to make a meth lab. I mean, probably the DA was like looking at my computer, but I just wanted to know because it's like such amazing chemistry, and that these people were like doing it out of the back of their cars. And so it's been really cool to dive into it as the physician side. Yeah. And honestly, it's really impactful work because you're helping people at some of their worst days. And I can't say enough good things about it. So anyway, that's my story.
That's amazing. Talking about meth. So a third of our patients here where I practice at a small community hospital, a third of them are meth positive. And it's crazy. I mean, that's a really large number of patients that we see. And so we're thinking, is the meth in the water? What is it? How is it so accessible to, and it doesn't discriminate with age. I mean, you'll see super young and super old folks and they're on meth and you're like, mind blown.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a really hard drug. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just if you know anything about how it modifies the neurochemistry for that person the rest of their life, it's devastating. It really is. We're starting to see a resurgence of it here in Indiana. For a long time, people were locally cooking it. Yeah. Now we're seeing a lot more of it coming up from Mexico, but we are now starting to see people starting to recook it again. Yeah. We have all the pseudoephedrine regulations and that sort of stuff in place, but so much of it is just, I think, education. Absolutely. And like you said, just identifying those people are obviously self-medicating for some reasons. Absolutely. And that's what I try to remind anybody that I work with, the officers, the nurses, that sometimes drugs is the only thing that they have in their life because they have such extreme trauma or childhood. Most of it is childhood experiences. And when you really start digging into that, it's horrific what people have been through. And so, and just remembering too, like, addiction is a chronic disease, just as diabetes is, just as hypertension is. Mm-hmm. And if we can start shifting away from it being like a moral issue and actually that, yes, this is a disease process and we have new ways of treating it, I think we'll start to see a shift. But yeah, it's a harsh drug. It's a real hard one.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. can you tell us a little bit about what specialty you're in? And you talked about, you work in the, you said it's in an actual jail, or is it
Mhm.
like, okay.
Yeah, it's a
So,
county jail. All right, people. So buckle up for a crazy story. So I am a family medicine physician. I finished residency in 2014, so 5 years ago. So I'm not that damn old. And it was 2014, and it was the worst year of my life. Absolute. I mean, I had got through residency. I was like, okay. I had 2 kids during residency. I was chief resident. Like, I put my head down and just hammered through. And I went into like a traditional employed outpatient practice, no inpatient. I was thinking about keeping obstetrics because I love doing babies, and I was like the super OB resident. But I ended up giving that up because my youngest was 6 months old. And I was like, okay, finally, out of residency, got a handle on the loans, buying the house, like it's gonna get better. And it didn't get better. And I was like, holy shit, like this is the next 30 years of my life. And as you can tell, I'm not one just to sit back and be quiet. So I like got a hold of my med school best friends. I was calling people into residency with. I even got into my medical officer's office and was like, I don't know what's going wrong, but something's going wrong. And I just kind of described like I was really dissatisfied. I was really like tearful, and I just couldn't really identify exactly what was going on. And God love her, she essentially said, yeah, me too. That's why I went into administration. Hindsight's 2020. I was crispy with burnout. Absolutely to the core, done. And here in Indiana, I was really worried about if I sought out like mental health services that it was going to impact my
the
license.
stigma.
So, yeah, and it does because they ask those fucking questions that are totally unethical, but don't get me off on a tangent. So I got online and I was like, how to turn my CV into a resume? Because I was done. I'm the first doctor in my family. I see everybody else around me in different industries. And I was like, you know what? Okay, maybe I made a mistake. Let's try to right the boat here. And I was leaving. Honestly, I had my forgivable loan check ready to write back to the hospital. I already knew what my contract conditions were, that I had to give 90, like I was leaving. But I found this amazing doctor in California who I got on the phone with, and I was like, she gets it. She understands. And so I started working through her process and realized, like, oh, she's a life coach. And she started asking me these questions like, who are you if your white coat and license were taken away?
Yeah.
Who are you going to be in 5 years? What is the very most important things to you that if you lost them, you would be devastated? You know, like all the things that we just put behind us because we're grinding and trying to get through, she made me look them straight in the face and have answers for them. And it was the most transformational, besides the birth of my children, most transformational thing that I've ever had happen in my life. And so I looked around and I was like, holy shit, we're all the like young physician life coaches. Like we needed this in med school, let alone after we get out into practice. So I went and got life coaches training, opened my business in 2015, and it's been curtained since. And I did stay in that practice. I made some modifications, and then I just realized I myself could not change anymore. That job was not going to ever fit me. And so I walked away from it. I had a really nasty non-compete. So I said, screw you. I'm still going to do it my way. And I jumped over into rural emergency medicine. And it was an amazing experience. I grew. I had done some ER when I was a resident moonlighting, so I knew I could do it. But this group took me under their wing and they're like, hey, you're an FM doctor. Like, you know your stuff. Let us just help fine tune you into an emergency medicine doc. So I did that and it was good. I got me out of my non-compete. I made more money than when I was, in the office grinding.
Yeah.
And I really got a lot of experience out of it. And then I got to a point where my life coaching business was taking off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Am I going to continue being a doctor who life coaches? Or am I going to be a life coach who also happens to be a doctor? And that's when I made the plunge and jumped into my business full time. I've been doing that for a year now and I love it. I have my own podcast called Doctor Me First, which you all should check out and come hang with me.
Awesome.
It's sassy and smart assy and we just get straight to the point about things.
There you go.
And yeah, I'm still in medicine and it's on my own terms. Like I mentioned, I am a correctional physician. I work as a medical attending in a dairy psych unit. I also do some telemedicine. And you know what? It's all on my terms. And it's all how I determine how I want to practice. And so I just want to put that out there. It's like, I'm not ashamed of my journey anymore. I used to be like, oh, this was a failure. But now I realize I'm like, no, I was just a round peg in a square hole. I was never going to fit there. But I didn't know the options that were out there to where I could find my fit. And now I do. And now I help other people to do the same.
That's incredible. So we'll add your link to the bottom of this video. So if the viewers want to watch Dr. Weisman's podcast, I highly encourage it. So let's talk about some challenges. You said you're the first physician in your family. So being a female in a male-dominated field, going into primary care, but then pursuing all these other paths and being, doing so many different things. Tell us a little bit about the adversities and the challenges you faced throughout these years and how you were able to overcome them.
Girl, let me tell you, it has been nothing but challenges. So yes, first physician in my family. Yeah. So my family was supportive, but they had no idea. Let's be honest. They just thought it was amazing what I was doing. And they still, I don't think, totally understand my whole journey with that, but I love them for it no matter what. I am the only female physician in my county here in Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where is this at?
This is in southern Indiana, so about an hour from like the biggest city that you can get to as far as like a level 2 trauma center.
So you work in the ER. You also work in the correctional facility.
I did. I don't work in the ER anymore. It got a little bit too crazy and hectic.
I was gonna say, that's like a lot of things to juggle.
No. Now mostly it's now me working from my basement office, and then like throughout the week I pop out to different places and that sort of thing. But yeah, absolutely challenging. The fact is, when I would walk into a room when I first started out, I mean, I look like I did like when I worked 5 years ago when I started into practice, but it was like, are you the nurse practitioner? No, I'm Dr. Weisman. When's the real doctor going to be in? Well, that happens to be me. How old are you? I got that a lot. I still get that a lot. So you're the student nurse? No, I'm not. I'm Dr. Weisman.
I've gotten that, student nurse. And I'm like,
yeah. So, I mean, that's challenging. But you know what really helped me through those challenges is remembering that's more about them and not about me. That's about their own assumptions. That's about their own presumptions. I show up as me, and you show up as you, and you show up as the best doctor that you absolutely are. And yeah, they can question our appearance all day long, but at the end of the day, when I would come into their room, or if they came into my office, or they come into my jail, I am the authority, and just reminding myself. And it's not my responsibility to always change those assumptions. Thank God that I'm not white, because my poor brown sisters out there, God love you, I know you guys are getting it twice as hard because of perception issue in the medical community. And I just have to say is that you just have to remember those microaggressions that you're experiencing, those slighted comments that happen. You don't have to fight every single one of those. Just know who you are and what you stand for. And when it does cross the line and when it's time to fight your girls' nails out and go for it, but just know that really is more about them and the culture that's built around it. And we are slowly picking away at that. And someday it is going to change. It absolutely must. But today, when you're just surviving, when you're trying to get through residency, when you're just trying to get through another day, just take a breath and remind yourself, that is not me. That is not about me. That is them.
Absolutely. So talking about challenges and, the going into the medical field is not an easy task. One thing I noticed is you have a painting behind you. So let's talk about some of the things you do to balance a good work-life balance.